Governor Mike Kehoe made juvenile justice reform a top priority, and he's getting that with a bill that's now sitting on his desk. But not everyone is convinced that a crackdown is the solution. Francis Watson joins us live now in our newsroom, breaking down what could change and the pros and cons. Francis?
Yeah, Rob, the justice system in the juvenile setting is set up to rehabilitate young offenders, but some lawmakers think it's not working and presented a bill that would give prosecutors more power to try them as adults.
System is very individualized. You know, we try to take each youth as we find them and consider their circumstances, family life, the trauma they've been exposed to, the adverse childhood experiences, and deal with them in that way.
Bill Prince, Chief Juvenile Officer for Greene County, says Missouri's juvenile justice system aims to rehabilitate young offenders, but he says that's not always the case.
Those serious crimes that you all report on and that we read about and see, again, those cases generally go through the process as it exists now, which is, we consult with the prosecutor's office, we dismiss our petition, and they'll file their criminal charges.
Under Senate Bill 888, sitting on Governor Kehoe's desk for approval, prosecutors would have more authority to try juveniles as adult and extend jail sentences.
I honestly don't know that it necessarily solves the problem that law enforcement and I guess the sponsors were looking for. I think their concerns, came from a case or two, I think probably on the eastern side of the state.
It's just going to create a situation where they don't have those same opportunities to get that rehabilitation. They don't get the same supportive environment to make a different choice, and instead are just going to get sucked into the adult carceral system in the state of Missouri.
Mallory Rush with Empower Missouri, an advocacy group, says prosecuting children as adults doesn't do much to reduce crime. She says the current rehabilitation system does more to cut down on recidivism.
There have been so many discussions about other ways to approach this, and it's really unfortunate that the legislature and the governor are ultimately coming down on the side of just harsher punishments for youth.
Now, Senate Bill 888 could be signed into law by the governor. There is no time frame in which that could happen. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Francis Watson. Rob, back to you.